Alright, so the video guys have all been waiting for my top 10 spring designer fragrances. I'm excited. I've been working on this list for quite a while. I've been moving things around, adding things, taking things out. Really just been trying to take my time and perfect this one. I am probably a little bit late compared to when a lot of other people have been releasing their top 10 spring list, but like I said, I had some things coming in the mail that I wanted to put in here, and it was taking a long time, and I was having a lot of fun tweaking it. So here I finally have it for you, my top 10 spring designer fragrances. Now, we're going to be covering fragrances, obviously all designers, but they're going to be in all different price ranges. We do have some cheap, we do have some on the more expensive side. So another video I'm going to be posting soon, and in fact I already have it recorded. It's going to be some of my favorite inexpensive spring fragrances. So it'll all be spring fragrances under like $30, $35, just so you guys have some more affordable options to choose from. But like I said, we're covering kind of a broad range in this video. Also plan on doing a top 10 spring niche fragrances coming up probably sometime here soon as well for anyone who's into niche fragrances. I haven't covered them in quite a while on the channel, so I do want to get that video out there just for anyone who's interested. But now I really want to hear from you guys. What are your top 10 spring designer fragrances? What are you going to be wearing the most, or what have you been wearing the most now that we're kind of getting into spring? Make sure you let me know down below in the comments, and I hope you're ready to get into this video, and I hope to see you at the very end of it as well. So let's get into it. And of course, all these fragrances will be linked down below so that you can pick them up, find them easily at some of the best prices around on the internet. Number 10, Nautica N83, or Nautica Voyage N83, I guess I should say. Now, what I like about this fragrance is that, you know, it is obviously an inexpensive fragrance. Like I talked about before, we're going to have a kind of a mixture here. This is going to be the cheapest fragrance on this list. $13, $15 for 100 ml. At that price, you can't go wrong with it. Just buy it. Next time you're putting up your card on FragranceNet, throw it in there. You'll probably forget that you even did so, and then you'll have a nice little pleasant surprise when you see that you threw this $13 Nautica fragrance in there, and it's actually pretty good. What I like about N83 is that it's more of an aromatic fragrance. Now, the original Nautica Voyage, which is one of my personal favorite cheap fragrances, in my opinion, is more suited for the summer. It's a lot more fresh. You get this nice green apple note in there, this cucumber type of smell. It smells great. It's been praised to death in the community for good reason. More of a summer fragrance, and when I want to reach for a Nautica Voyage fragrance in the spring, this is what I'm going to be going for, just because of the fact that it is more aromatic, like I just mentioned. This one has musk, lavender, aquatic notes, or sea notes, so it is, you know, a little bit aquatic like you would expect from a Nautica, but with more of an aromatic, musky, lavender mix on the scent. So I really like it for that, and for spring I do like my aromatic fragrances just to give it a little bit more depth, so it's not straight up freshness all the way through for those days when it's a little bit cooler outside. So if you want a nice Nautica Voyage fragrance for spring and you want to save your original Nautica Voyage for summertime, check this one out here. This one is really nice stuff. Coming in at number 9, we have Nuit de Lhomme Eau Electrique. So I've really been enjoying Eau Electrique, and this is one, again, where I've put off getting for quite a while. It's always been on my radar to get, but I just never really did it. Didn't want to spend the money on it because I didn't think it's going to be that good. But I can tell you, this fragrance is honestly really good, especially the opening. The opening, honestly, is very pleasant and very enjoyable for me. One fragrance that I can kind of compare this one to would be Versace Eros. Now, I'm not saying that they smell the same, but they are in the same genre to some extent. This fragrance does have apple, it does have tonka bean, it has geranium in it, so you know, you do get a bit of a comparison to Versace Eros in terms of the scent profile that it is. Again, they don't really smell the same, but they do kind of achieve the same result of being, you know, kind of a fun type of sweet fragrance, and that's what this is. Because of that, naturally it does have some hate following it, and I will admit it's definitely nothing that is unique, but it is pleasant to the nose. And for me, if I'm choosing what season this fragrance is suited for, it's going to be spring every single time, just because of that sweetness that it has, counterbalancing with the freshness. So this one's definitely going to be great for some of your cooler spring days when you want something still a little bit sweet with some depth and some warmth to it. Check this one out. Nuit de Lhomme Eau Electrique is kind of slept on in my opinion, but hey, it's not a bad fragrance, and you can't really go wrong with it in my opinion. if you're after something that is sweet and very mass pleasing. Coming in at number 8, we've got Terre DHermes Eau Intense Vetiver. Of course, you guys know I love vetiver, especially in the springtime. I think spring is one of the best times to be rocking some vetiver fragrances, and this one right here is a great vetiver fragrance. Of course, it is that signature Terre DHermes DNA, but obviously the main focus here is going to be the vetiver, the other woods in this fragrance, and that's really the majority of what you get from it. A little bit of citrus in the opening, but it's not that traditional orange that you get from basically the rest of the line. You don't really get that in this fragrance. You do get some other citrus, just not that orange note. So it's not like that dirty, earthy orange like you get in the other ones, but still, nonetheless, great fragrance here. Again, this should be going without saying, but you gotta like vetiver to like this fragrance. You have to like woody fragrances to like this fragrance. There's no way around that. This is a dry and woody fragrance, just like all the other Terre DHermes fragrances, basically, except for like Eau Très Fraîche, right? They're dry, they're woody, they're masculine, they're a bit spicy. Definitely not for everyone. So if you're someone who's just kind of getting started with collecting here, maybe hold off on something like this just for a while until you've kind of had some experience with some of these more woody based fragrances, because I can tell you, if I would have tried this when I was first starting out collecting, I would have not liked it at all. So, you know, it's just taken me some time to finally come around to this DNA, but chances are this is one of those fragrances where if you like it, you're probably gonna love it. I mean, it's kind of one of those love or hate fragrances to some extent. So good for people who like vetiver, woody fragrances. Terre DHermes Eau Intense Vetiver at number 8. At number 7, we have Dolce Gabbana The One Gray. Really, the best way to put this is that it's Dolce Gabbana The One, but fresher. You know, when you have the Eau de Toilette, you have the Eau de Parfum. Obviously, the EDT is going to be a bit lighter than the EDP, but this is going to be lighter than both of them. What I like about this fragrance is I still do get that signature tobacco note in this fragrance and that spiciness that you get like from the ginger and stuff like that, but you also do get that grapefruit opening more so than you do in the EDT. You also get a good amount of vetiver in here as well, which of course, obviously I like vetiver and I think it's a great note for spring. So really you have a lot of great qualities in this scent. Nice masculine tobacco, this nice warm spicy touch with some grapefruit in the opening and some, you know, vetiver woods. It's a great combination. If you want Dolce Gabbana The One but a bit fresher for springtime, check this one out. I wasn't the biggest fan of it when I first tried it, but I've come around to it and I really see some more uses for it. Not a bad fragrance at all, and it is pretty affordable on discounters as well. You're not going to be paying a fortune for this fragrance or really for any of the other Dolce Gabbana fragrances, so it is worth picking out. Dolce Gabbana The One Gray at number 7. Moving into number 6, we have one of my personal favorite fragrance DNAs ever. This one is great, and it puts a smile on my face every single time I smell it, every single time I wear it. I just feel so good. I know I smell incredible, and it's a fragrance DNA that just works for literally any situation at all. That is Chanel Allure Homme Sport. You're probably wondering, what about Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme? That is the hype monster. Whenever people think about the Chanel Allure line of fragrances, they always go straight for Allure Homme Sport Extreme. They seem to forget about Allure Homme Sport. They seem to forget about the original Allure Homme. You know, people even gravitate towards Edition Blanche more so than this one and the others. This is kind of the underdog. This is one that people often forget about, but this is an incredible fragrance DNA. I love it. You get this nice freshness, this aldehydic citrus freshness with a bit of a creamy tonka bean. It smells absolutely incredible. Now, you know, a great alternative to this fragrance is Versace Pour Homme. I own and love both of them. I own the big bottles of both of them because I wear it quite often. Both are fantastic. The Versace is going to be much, much cheaper at like $55 for a 200 ml bottle, which is crazy value. So that one is going to be the way to go if you're on a budget and if you don't want to spend the Chanel price tag. However, the reason why I'm putting the Chanel in this list is because, well, one, it is a bit more sweet. Versace Pour Homme to me is more focused on the citrus and, you know, a little bit of a lighter musk. So it is fresher overall to me. It's a bit more sparkling, effervescent. The Chanel Allure Homme Sport, again, it's a bit more sweet, especially in the dry down from that tonka bean and a lot of the depth that you get. This one has a pretty extensive note breakdown, so there is a bit more body to this fragrance. And because of that, I like it for spring when it's still just a little bit cold outside. And it's also worth noting that this fragrance is actually released first. So Versace was actually kind of going after Chanel here when they made Versace Pour Homme or Versace Signature, and they've been known to do that before. I mean, take a look at Dylan Blue, kind of modeling after another blue fragrance from Chanel, which is going to be at my number 5. And that probably gave it away, but my number 5 is going to be Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Yes, obviously Bleu de Chanel Parfum wasn't out when Dylan Blue came out, but you get what I'm saying. Dylan Blue does kind of get you in that same ballpark as the Bleu de Chanel fragrances. Today at number 5, again, we're going with the Parfum. I've really been enjoying the Parfum version of Bleu de Chanel. I find that I get the best performance out of this one compared to all of them. This one performs better than the Eau de Toilette on me, and it performs better than the EDP on my skin as well, both in longevity and also, surprisingly, projection has been pretty good on this fragrance as well, which I was not really expecting, being that it is a Parfum concentration. Typically, these are known to last longer but sit closer to the skin, whereas something like an Eau de Toilette will project more. But I just find that the Eau de Toilette is relatively weak on my skin. The EDP is about in that moderate range, still performs good, but this Parfum has been a beast on my skin, or at least a beast. You know, it is a Chanel fragrance, and typically, you know, you're not getting beast mode performance out of many Chanels these days, unfortunately. But, you know, compared to the other Bleu de Chanel fragrances and from the other fragrances in the Chanel line, I've been getting great performance out of the Parfum. And on top of that, I've also just been enjoying this particular flanker because of the added depth that this one has, which again, for springtime, when it's a little bit cool outside, I think is perfect. Really been enjoying Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Again, right now, it's my favorite of the 3. Really great stuff here. Even if you have the EDP, even if you have the EDT, I would look into at least getting a sample of the Parfum. It may be kind of your missing puzzle piece if you wish the EDT had this or that, or the EDP, you wish there was something tweaked in there. Check out the Parfum. It's refined, and it's really kind of taken the DNA even up a notch, which, you know, was crazy because Bleu de Chanel, EDT, EDP already a masterpiece in my opinion. One thing I will say is that Chanel did a much better job with their Bleu de Chanel Parfum release than Dior did with their Sauvage Parfum release. And I've already kind of covered those. Sauvage Parfum kind of left a bit to be desired with me personally. My preference still is the EDT, EDP, very cool spray. Whereas here with Chanel, I think they really hit it home with their Parfum Bleu de Chanel. Kind of unrelated here, but I wanted to throw that in there. Number 5. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Don't sleep on this one just because it's new, just because it's more expensive. Get your nose on it. This stuff rocks. Coming in at number 4 here, we've got a Fuji Air fragrance. You got to have at least one solid Fuji Air fragrance in your rotation for spring. I could have put so many in this list. If I would have had it my way, I would have put like a 4-way tie here of my favorite Fuji Air fragrances because I love wearing these in the springtime. But no ties, just shooting it straight here. My number 4, this one is Tom Ford Beau de Jour. Yes, this is the private blend version. I do have the signature version or whatever, you know, from their normal line. I do have that one on order, so it will be here soon. I wanted to get both so I can compare them both on video. Like I said, for this video's sake, I'm going with the private blend. If you have the new version that's in their signature line or their regular designer line, go with that one, because from what I've read online, they're pretty close. If you want a Fuji Air fragrance, you got to check this stuff out. If you like Fuji Airs, this is a must-have. If you don't really know too much about Fuji Air fragrances, you don't know if you like them or not, this is a great place to start. Obviously, it is more expensive. You could start with something like Azzaro Pour Homme, Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, Dolce Gabbana Pour Homme, any of those Pour Hommes from all these other designer houses that are Fuji Air fragrances. Good places to start at more affordable prices. But if you want to get into like a higher end designer here and you want, you know, it to be a Fuji Air, check this one out. I've really even been enjoying this one over Fuji Air d'Argent by Tom Ford, believe it or not, which at one point was one of my favorite Fuji Air fragrances. This stuff, in my opinion, is a bit more refined, a bit more wearable. And I don't know, there's something magical about this one, even more so the Fuji Air d'Argent. Great place to start for Fuji Air. You know, something like YSL Rive Gauche, That one's a bit more tricky. It's, it's a bit more barbershop shaving cream, kind of harsh, kind of sharp. That one can be, a bit iffy for some people, but this one is so refined, it's so masculine, it's so elegant. This stuff is incredible just for all times of the year, but especially for spring and that slightly crisp weather. This stuff kills it. So at number 3, we have probably one of my favorite designer fragrances of all time. One of my favorites that's been released, one of my favorites that I personally smelled. It's a classic that's been in my collection basically ever since the beginning here. This one, it's another Yves Saint Laurent fragrance, and of course this one is the original Loam. I know, it may be basic, it may be boring. I could have put Loam Ultime, I could have put, anything else in here. I'm putting the original Loam, and in my opinion, that says something about this DNA. At this point, I do have a decent number of fragrances. I could have put anything else in this spot at number 3 especially, but again, I'm going with Loam here. Yes, I love this DNA. It's this nice apple, ginger, fresh, spicy, sweet combination. It's a gentleman's fragrance all the way through. I've said it millions of times. It's such a classic, timeless DNA. I still love wearing it, especially for spring. Spring and fall is my favorite time to wear Yves Saint Laurent Loam, and I've definitely not been shy on wearing this one here in the springtime. Of course, you can do it in the summer, you can do it in the winter, but I really do think this shines in these transitional seasons. But I really do think this one shines in these transitional seasons when you got a little bit of cold to counterbalance, this scent DNA. It smells absolutely incredible. Still 100% worth owning in my personal opinion. It's a classic scent, a classic DNA, despite it being popular, despite it being around for a long time and a lot of people wearing it. I don't care. It's one that makes me happy. It's one that I'm going to wear a lot this spring. Yves Saint Laurent Loam. There's just something magical about this one. Coming in at number 2, Spice Bomb Eau Fraiche. I've already done a review on this one. You can check that video out for more info. Long story short, and really long story just simplified, it's a fresher version of Spice Bomb Eau de Toilette. Grapefruit, red pepper in the opening. It starts off obviously very spicy. You do get that tobacco note in here as well. Really not much more to say about this one. It smells great. If you want Spice Bomb in the springtime, go for this one right here. Super easy to wear, is discontinued. So now you're really going to be looking around to get a bottle because both FragranceNet, FragranceX are sold out. Not sure if they're going to get any more or not. I'm glad I got mine when I did, and hopefully you guys who watched that video when I put it out got yours as well. Spice Bomb Eau Fraiche at number 2. Honestly, a great scent for spring. And finally, at number 1, what could this be? My number 1 spring fragrance. It's a John Varvatos fragrance. This is John Varvatos Artisan Aqua. I love this fragrance for spring. It could be a great fragrance for summer too, and yes, I will still wear this fragrance in the summertime. But what I like about this one is, honestly, I think it's pretty much splitting hairs on which season I think it's better for. The reason why I say that is because this one is a bit aromatic as well. It's got a bit of this aromatic and fougere quality to it while also being fresh and citrusy and summery. So you kind of get the best of both worlds here. Fair amount of depth in this fragrance. And honestly, for a fresh fragrance, you get tons and tons of character. It's super unique. It's super pleasant. The quality is great for like a $30, $35 fragrance. I can't say enough good things about this. The only downside, I'm sure you know where this is going, is the performance. These John Varvatos fragrances are known for not having good performance, but for a fragrance that I enjoy personally this much, I can look past that. Obviously, if this is a fragrance that you only just like a little bit, then the performance being bad may just make you want to write the fragrance off altogether, and I get that. I have certain fragrances that I just like okay, that don't perform good, and because I just don't wear them. But for me personally, for my personal taste and just what I like in general, I'm okay with the poor performance on this one. I'll apply it more, I'll spray it heavier because it's worth it for me. It may not be worth it for you because you're not crazy about the scent. We all have fragrances that we love and that we just like okay. This is one of those fragrances that I love, and I loved ever since I first smelled it. So because of that, the performance being an issue, it's just kind of whatever. I'll get over it, I'll suck it up, and I'll wear it anyways because, well, I want to. So that's my number 1, Artisan Aqua. Great unique spring scent. If you want a unique spring scent, check this one out. Again, the performance is limiting, and I'm telling you guys straight up, so that's something that you can factor in when you're deciding to purchase this or not. But if you just want something that is unique, something you can reapply throughout the day, or just you want a short-lived fragrance anyway, something to wear in the morning, have it wear off by mid-afternoon, and then apply something else, this one would be great for that. So guys, that's gonna do it for me. That was my top 10 spring designer fragrances. Hopefully this was worth the wait. Hopefully, you get something out of this list. Hopefully it gave you some ideas of what you can pick up and wear this spring as well. Again, all these will be linked down below in the description at the best prices you can get online. So that's going to do it for me, guys. I'll see you tomorrow night with another video. Take care.